how's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for joining.
No problem. Thank you for the invite.
You're welcome. What you been working on lately?
Currently, I'm working on like a big project. It's my first like long-term project. The work in progress title is called Detective FoxGlove. So it's like a little detective adventure game.
Yeah, I saw that on your social media. It looks really, really cool. Can you tell me more about the game you're doing?
Sure. So it's only been like a couple months in development, but I am working with a small team. So we have
Mm-hmm.
like a musician, artist, and a 3D modeler all on the team. We're just trying to get a demo going just to see like a vertical slice or a proof of concept, just to see if people would be interested. So it's
Cool.
it's been really fun so far. I didn't think I would ever make like a 3D game because I've
Uh-huh.
always usually made 2D games. So doing
Uh-huh.
this one has been really interesting.
What's your role on this?
So I guess I'm like the team lead,
Uh-huh.
just keeping everything organized, and the programmer. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And do you have a story for the game yet?
Yeah, well, for the demo part at least. The main story I haven't really thought of too much yet, but of course it's going to be like a mystery, maybe a murder mystery, um, something like that. But for the demo, it's just going to be like a smaller case. Um, he, so Detective Foxglove, he's like a detective,
Mm-hmm.
um, and obviously this is like an animal world. Um, and he sees the suspicious exchange of a briefcase, and then he has to investigate like what's going on. So that's the
Oh,
little
is
demo.
he a detective or he's just like he saw it and he's like, I want to know what's going on?
He's a detective, but he has a bit of a backstory, a complicated
Okay.
backstory. Yeah.
Okay, sounds fun. How did you come up with the story for this?
So like I think I did a game jam with the musician that I'm working with. We did a 1 week game jam where we made a rhythm game, and it was like about a detective fox, so it was like in that kind of noir style, but it was just a rhythm game where he had to like run through like a museum kind of thing. So I used
Okay.
that concept and then tried to like expand on it and use it for this game.
So what's the genre of the game? Is it a puzzle game?
Yeah, it's like a have you played Luigi's Mansion?
No.
No, but are you familiar with the style?
No.
It's kind of like oh, okay, like think of Mario, obviously, but it's like a fixed camera style, which moves left to right mostly, and you can go to different rooms. So it's just this fixed camera, almost
Mhm.
like a scroller,
Okay.
but it's in a 3D space. So it's kind of in that style as an adventure and like a detective game with some stealth elements and puzzle elements. So
Oh, okay. Sounds really cool.
Mhm. I'm
Ooh.
excited for it. Like I'm just glad I haven't lost motivation for this project because it's my first like bigger game.
Yeah.
I
How long you been
usually
on it?
um I would say like 6 months now. I did a lot
Okay,
of
nice.
pre-production thinking
Uh-huh.
and brainstorming, which took me a while, but I
Uh-huh.
think we're finally like on a roll.
And do you have a sort of timeline in mind, or you're just gonna see where how long it takes, kind of thing?
We're just gonna see how long it takes, which is a little bit dangerous, I think. But we're all working on it like on the side, so I'm not too concerned. But
Mhm.
I am starting to make like the Steam page, so I'm taking those steps slowly.
Ooh, that's
So
exciting.
yeah, I'm really
Do you,
excited for it.
do you see the game coming together? Is it like
The demo, at least, is coming together slowly but surely. Yes.
nice? Is it difficult working with multiple people who are doing it on the side? Like, is it hard for people to find time for it? And are you getting kind of held up by one person or another or anything like that?
Like I said, I'm not like too concerned about like things being done like on a strict timeline. But I usually just like lay out the tasks that need to be done within this short period, and then
Hmm.
they work on it at their own pace. Like I did just set up a Trello board for them to like pick up anything that they want to do.
Hmm.
For myself, I have a little bit more like of a time frame where I'm like, okay, I need to get this stuff done so that I can like make room for other people to start their tasks. So there's stuff like that, but since everyone's working on it on the side, they just pick up what they can. I'm just glad I have like a motivated team. Like it's hard finding a team to begin with, especially when you're not like paying people.
Yeah,
So
totally.
just having like, I feel so grateful to just have a team, even that is like excited about the game.
And that's exciting. So, w- w- since no one's, this is like you guys are all doing it as a passion project, as a hobby, is it just divided between you, or are you the lead and everyone sort of has like a percentage of the ownership on it? How does that work?
Um, we're still figuring out like that business side of things because
Mm-hmm.
potentially this is going to be like a commercial game.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but we're still like at the demo stage, so I haven't set anything in stone yet.
Mm-hmm.
Ownership wise, I think like I do have a bigger portion of it because I did do the game design and the
Mm-hmm.
programming portions, and then like organization and marketing. That'll probably fall all under like my portion.
Okay.
But of course, like artist, 3D modeler, like none of the game can come together without them. Like that's the graphics, the visual hook for any game. So they're definitely gonna get like a big portion as well.
Cool. That's a nice way to organize things.
Mhm.
What about like games in the past? Have you done those solo or have you worked on teams as well for those ones?
Yeah, so this is my first like longer term project and also my first commercial project. Before I've just done a lot of game jams.
Mm-hmm.
So those are always like free games, very small. I do try to work on those with teammates as well. So I do have a lot of experience just working with team members and like collaborating a lot, which which is good. Originally, I started making games with my sister as well, so we always had that like back and forth, and we knew how to work together. So I'm like applying a lot of those skills just to my team as well, just the back and forth, bouncing off ideas. So that's been nice. I do try to do game jams in a team, or when I do work solo, I try to learn something new usually. So it's
Okay,
usually just
cool.
a learning experience if I'm doing it solo.
Yeah, for sure. That's nice. It's a good way to see how you work with different people as well, to do a jam with them because it's not like a huge investment. You can see how well you work together, especially under stress because game jams
Hmm.
are really stressful. And then
Exactly.
if it goes well, you can like work together on a longer term project. So
Exactly.
that's really cool.
Actually, the musician that I'm working with right now, he was the like I've worked with him multiple times on Game Jam games, so it was definitely
Okay,
like a good networking kind of thing, joining game jams.
cool. I never thought of it as that. I never really saw that side of it, but that's like a great way, yeah, to practice working with different people and seeing how you
Mhm.
mesh together. So that's really cool that you've had the experience and you've met people that you've found that work well with you. So
Exactly.
that's awesome.
Hmm.
Cool. So you mentioned when we started, you finished work. Do you do game development full time as like a main thing, or is that a more of a on the side kind of thing?
Hmm. So making games is purely on the side, but obviously, since I'm doing the programming on games, I'm actually a software engineer full
Mm-hmm.
time.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't work in games, but I work in the finance industry.
Mm.
So um, I work at a investment pension service, and they're just growing their engineering team, making sure everything's like online now. So I work
Mm-hmm.
on the tools for that. So it's mostly web development. Yeah.
Cool. What languages do you work in?
So I do JavaScript and mostly React, like the frameworks
Yeah.
React. Hmm.
Okay, interesting. How does it feel to spend your day doing that kind of dev work and then spend your free time also doing dev work? Does it feel different enough or do you ever get burnt out from this?
There's definitely a bit of burnout sometimes.
Yeah.
I try to stay like motivated by wearing the different like hats. I
Mhm.
especially like doing like the game design, just making puzzles or like writing the story. That's usually like more motivating to work on after work because I do
Yeah.
try to work every evening on my game.
Hmm.
So writing the story is always fun. I've been starting to use ChatGPT just to like bounce ideas off of for the story.
Yeah.
It's been really helpful.
Hmm.
Um, Other than that, I know I always have to get the programming done one way or another. So just putting my tasks in Trello and marking them off is usually the way to go. But I do enjoy programming, so it's always some fun problem to solve there too.
That's good. Sounds like you stay busy. You also make like YouTube videos as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't posted in like 2 months now, I think.
Uh-huh.
My schedule seems to be like monthly or every 2 months, which isn't
Okay.
that great. But
I mean, it makes sense considering how much you're doing. You know, you're working on a game with a
mhm.
full time job, and then you're doing the YouTube videos once a month is actually still pretty impressive to get all those things
Yeah.
out.
I'm hoping to start some devlogs for this game that I'm doing right now. But
Mhm.
before this game, I did post more often on YouTube regarding like game jams or devlogs about that stuff. So it was definitely better to do it then. Now I'm just prioritizing my game.
Okay, cool. How
Mhm.
long does it usually take you to make these videos?
I feel like I'm kind of extra in my videos sometimes. I do like a little cinematic for some of them. So those
Uh-huh.
ones take a little bit longer, but I think it usually takes me like maybe 2 weeks probably because I do only work on them like after work or on the weekends. So it
Yeah.
takes some
And
time.
how do you decide what kind of videos to make?
The easy way to go is just making a devlog based on the game jam I
Yeah.
just completed. So that's
Okay.
always easy. I did do some fun ones with my sister before, just like little challenges between us. Or what else do we do? Just like reviewing our old game, something like that. So I just try to think of anything fun that people would usually like.
That sounds fun. That's
Yeah.
cool. Uh, so how did you get into game dev in the first place?
Nothing too special. Back in high school, I took like a computer science class just because I think I already liked playing games a lot. So I'm like, okay, maybe I'll take computer science just because it's like techie and games are techie. So there was a computer science class that I signed up for, and I
Uh-huh.
actually went to an all girls school, so they didn't have that many tech courses. So I was surprised that I even took computer science. But then during that course, they did one unit of game dev, and I just loved it so much. It was so much
Cool.
fun. So from then on, I got into game development. I think it was through Game Maker Studio. That was my first engine, I think.
Okay.
Unless Scratch counts. Maybe it
Kind
does.
of counts.
Yeah, so from then on, I went on to learn Unity by myself, and then yeah, the rest is history, I guess.
Cool. So did you go to school for software engineering or did you start working in that after like high school?
I did 4 years, 4.5 years of university
Uh-huh.
for software engineering. It's
Hmm.
basically computer science with some extra design courses.
Hmm.
So I did that, and I got a lot of internships during that time. And uh, right after I graduated, I just started working. So the typical path, I guess, for
Yeah.
people who want to study and just go to work.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. And
Yeah.
then so you've been doing this for a while. Would you like to transition to game development full time? Is that sort of a goal or do you like just doing it as a hobby?
It's definitely nice doing it as a hobby. I don't know what it's like to do it full time. I don't know if it will get on my nerves too much, but it
Mm-hmm.
definitely is a dream to just like work on my own games, work with other people as a studio. Like that would be amazing to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I do hope I can at least try it. That's my goal.
That's cool.
Hopefully, I don't know, maybe after this demo, completing this demo and seeing that it has potential, maybe I'll take some time off of work and try it out.
That sounds
Yeah.
cool. That sounds exciting.
Yeah.
How do you communicate with the rest of the team? Like you mentioned having a Trello board. Is that sort of the way that you communicate what tasks need to be done and what's been done?
So the Trello board I just set up recently. I already had one for myself for like development and like
Uh-huh.
Steam page stuff and stuff like that. But for the most part, we've just been communicating on Discord. So I set up a server there, and I just have like a million channels for like each different thing. So uh, we have a 2D artist, so she has her own channel. The 3D guy has his own channel. So like we're always talking about like the different concepts and topics in the relevant channel.
That's cool. So does that mean other people from the team can chime in if they want to and get caught
Mhm.
up and stuff? Oh, I like
Exactly.
that. That's a smart way to do it.
So there's like yeah, the main topic conversation. Anyone can chime in, and like same thing for music. We just all brainstorm together, stuff like that.
Cool. That sounds great. And Are they so are they doing the role that they have on the project, is that also like what they do for their main work as well?
Yeah, for the most part. I think the 2D artist, she's like a illustrator for children's books.
Oh, neat.
So that's really cool.
Yeah.
The musician actually, he's a developer full
Oh,
time, but
really?
his dream is to become like a video game musician. So we're like
Cool.
in this together. We're like, we're gonna make this happen. Our dreams will come true.
Awesome.
Yeah,
So,
and the 3D guy, he's looking for work in 3D. So he's like learning and creating his portfolio. He's trying to
uh-huh.
use some of this stuff for his portfolio as well. So I hope that stuff goes along well for him.
Very cool. Um,
For your game, are you working? You're working mostly solo, right? Not
for the
really.
most part, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
I just
How's that
hire
been?
when I can to get help with like mostly like retopology is a big one or animation, just
Oh,
because
yes.
they're
Yeah,
so
it's a lot to
technical and I get so
learn.
stressed out. Like I'm slow with them. I'm not good at them, and I get frustrated. So it's nice to get help with those things. And
Mhm.
once in a while, texturing and like writing stuff like that. Just like the odd thing here and there. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, like, how's your game been going so far? You release the Kickstarter? That happened, right?
Yeah, there was a demo and then a Kickstarter with it, and that went really well, successful. Thank goodness. It was definitely
Congratulations.
a thing. Yeah, it went really well. So I got a lot of feedback, and I've just been, you know, making some changes to it, and kind of like took it apart to make some changes. And
Mhm.
I spent the last couple months kind of redoing how some of the systems work, so that I can basically now I'm putting it back together, and it's going to be like a little bit more modular, which I think will mean I can finish it or have it like playable sooner and then add more content as I want to, rather than needing to have all of the content before it's done. Does that make sense?
Mhm. Okay.
So yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to bring it back together and start testing it again. It'll be
Nice.
fun.
So it's more of a refactor, like on the back end kind of thing?
I'm kind of changing the way the mechanics work as well. So the city is more procedural because I realized during the demo, making the demo, how long like level design takes.
Oh, yeah.
So it's in a city, so I'm doing it like on a grid system, and it's more procedural, so I can just make like each individual building look really nice on its own,
Hmm.
and then plop it down. And like at the beginning, it will repeat a lot. You'll see repetitive buildings, but the
Hmm.
more content I add, the less repetition that there is. So it'll
Oh, I
still be
see.
playable, but it will be better when I add more content
Okay. That's
rather
pretty
than
cool.
yeah,
Wait, so if it's procedural, that means it's kind of different each playthrough?
yeah.
Oh, okay. Nice. That's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's coming together pretty cool. I'm excited to see the new shape it's taking.
Hmm. How do you actually tackle like level design? I'm kind of curious. I've been like mapping it out as a diagram kind of thing. I don't know
Uh-huh.
if that's the best way to go about it. I'm curious to see like how other people go about it.
Yeah, I mean, the level design, I feel like it's kind of weird with the procedural city because
Oh, yeah.
it is different each time. I'm kind of doing it in such a way where the combat will mostly be taking place. I'm still like the combat's like the next thing I'm adding back in. Like it's working, but I need to sort of figure out how that's going to be feeling the best.
Hmm.
But that I think is going to be where the level design is going to be coming in. So I haven't really put a lot of time into how the combat works with the level design, but
Hmm.
um, yeah, we'll see. We'll see when I get to
That's
that.
pretty cool.
How about
Nice.
you? How are you doing the level design?
Yeah, I've just been mapping it out like on Google Diagrams, I think. Just like do
Hmm.
this, and then this leads to this, and talking to this person like does this. So it's just been like a map for me. But so far it's been working, sort of. But I always have to come back to it and revise every time like I add something in Unity. I'm like, oh
Hmm.
man, this is not going to work. So go back, revise. So that's how I've been doing it at least.
Yeah, doing stuff like that, like this with the story and quests, is such a weird puzzle to solve. Like I'm doing it differently in the main game, but for the demo it was like that. And there's
Yeah,
so many. It's so easy to find like holes in it. Like if you go to this thing first, then you have to do this whole other
exactly.
mechanic so that it doesn't like break the storyline.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, it can get
Definitely a
complicated.
lot to consider.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for your demo, is it actually like a the beginning of your game, or is it just a slice on its own?
Um, so I had the game pretty much all working. I just needed to add in all the story elements.
Hmm.
And I took that and then made like a prequel story to the game.
Okay.
Um,
Oh, right. I think I saw your devlog about that. Now that I
okay, cool. Yeah.
remember. Hmm.
So it's kind of a prequel story, and it functions sort of differently because I had sort of like this systematic way that you gain reputation through quests, and all the quests were kind of not like what you're describing where you have to go to a certain place and then that unlocks the thing and you go to the other place, but the demo was so it definitely I
Mm,
like that was tricky to change all the code to be specific for the demo and work in that way. But now it's going to go back to being it'll also be modular, so it'll be like event based, and certain things will unlock areas of the world that will allow you to do the
right.
next part of the game basically.
Okay, nice. I definitely have to check out the demo. I haven't done that yet, but it's still on Steam, right?
It is, yeah.
Okay, we'll do.
Thanks. Yeah, it was really cool to see people play it and get feedback. It was really helpful to watch people play it on Twitch.
Hmm.
That was part of what, like I said, it gave me insight because I spend so much time
Yeah.
on the story and the cutscenes and animations and all of that. But then that was like the fastest that people played through that like so quickly. And then just like the survival side, people were
Yeah.
playing for days. Like I could play through it, the story part in like a couple hours, but then people were
Oh
playing
man.
the see how long I could survive for days. I was like, oh man, that was the easy part. Like that's that loop's
Yeah.
already good and working and functioning. Like maybe I should get that down and then have the story come in a way that's going to be less time
Mm.
intense.
Oh
So that's
yeah.
kind of where the
That's
decision making
interesting.
came.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Cool. So I guess you learned a lot for like the main game now, right? Things to
Yeah,
improve.
I think you guys what you guys are doing is a great approach where you're doing a demo and a vertical slice,
Mm.
and then you can take that and decide what you want to do with it after.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping at least. Like, we'll get a lot of feedback after that demo
Hmm.
slice.
Yeah, I'm seeing how like prototype is useful to get information, and then a vertical slice is also super useful to get information. And like I see now why those steps are so important, and I think I'm going to make sure I
Mm.
follow those in the future. Hmm.
How much longer do you think you have for Strain's development time?
It's hard to say because a lot of the things I haven't tackled before.
Mhm.
There's like new obstacles and challenges I'm going to be facing, and I don't know what I'm going to come across, and how long it will take to
Yeah.
do them and fix any problems that come up. So it's it's really hard to say. Kind of like what you said, just see how long it takes. Hopefully, not too
Not
long.
yeah, that's what I'm hoping too.
Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah.
Nice.
With your demo, what are some of the biggest challenges you guys have been facing?
Ooh, I think so far, like I'm trying to get the gameplay loop down.
Hmm.
Um, Originally, it was more stealth focused.
Hmm.
I knew there would be like investigation and inspecting, but I thought stealth would be like, I thought it would be 50-50. But so far, my demo's been mostly like investigating, which kind of worries me because now I need to get like the puzzle and the stealth portion in, and I haven't done that yet.
Hmm.
So that's been one challenge so far. It's just like, I think it just needs more development time for me to get to the areas that have more stealth, but just balancing like I guess the genres or what I want most in the game has been interesting. So it's mostly a design decision and dilemma, but I think that's been the biggest thing. Teamwork wise, like everything's been pretty smooth, which I'm happy about.
Oh, that's nice to hear. That's usually the hardest part, so
Yeah,
that's good. With the
definitely
stealth mode,
lucky.
like what's the mechanic with the stealth in the game?
Originally it was supposed to be like you can do silent takedowns of enemies, like from
Hmm.
behind them, or just avoid line of sight of a big enemy. So I don't know if you've heard of Little Nightmares. It's kind of stealth based.
I've heard of it, but I haven't really seen much of the gameplay, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a puzzle platformer, I think, but
Hmm.
there is a lot of stealth. So like there's enemies running around, but like if they see you, they'll start chasing you, that kind of thing. So it's
Okay.
like more of an involved type of stealth rather than like a point system or something very strategic. Um, it's more like avoiding these types of enemies. So we're trying to get that kind of stealth in. as well as mixing it with the puzzles.
I see. So in your game, if you get caught during stealth mode, what's the consequence?
Yeah, so it will just respawn you from like a checkpoint, basically.
Okay, I see.
It's not going to say like it's not a point system or anything like that. Is
Okay,
what I meant. So like you'll just start at this one scene, basically at the beginning of the scene.
that's a good way to do it. It's not too complex.
Mm-hmm.
Simple. Yeah,
Just because we have so much other stuff going on. Like I'm doing a dialogue system as well,
yeah.
and even that just seems like too much sometimes. I'm like, is this too wordy for the type of game I'm trying to make? So just balancing everything has been the most challenging, I think.
Yeah, dialogue is tricky to get right, isn't it?
Hmm.
It's
And people have mixed feelings about it. Some people just like skip through that whole thing. I'm like, no, the story.
right. I think with a game like what you're describing, I feel like you have
Yeah.
to read the story in order to enjoy a game like that, no?
Yeah, for sure. Because that's where you get clues from and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
definitely need to read, or hopefully I'll have like some voiceovers at some points.
Mhm.
But for the most part, the dialogue and options you choose are going to be important.
So you guys are planning on doing voice acting for the demo?
I'm hoping to at least get it for the cutscenes.
Hmm.
I do have a couple cutscenes I want in the demo. So at least for that portion, maybe not
Hmm.
like the actual dialogue. That might be a little too much for the demo.
Yeah. I did voice acting for the demo, and I started with just I was gonna just do like some parts of it, but it just was so. I guess I didn't do all of the dialogue. It was mainly the cutscenes, but there was a lot of cutscenes for the demo because there's were like
Oh yeah,
conversations basically rather than like informational stuff.
right.
And it just I feel like it just I wasn't gonna do it originally, but once I started putting it in, it just really brought it to life.
I know.
And
That's what I'm thinking too.
yeah, so it's a lot of work and it's definitely an expense to hire voice actors, but
Oh yeah.
yeah, it's pretty rewarding as well.
Hmm. How did you usually find like voice actors?
Different like job hiring sites.
Yeah,
I just put a
usually did
post
the
or
trick.
find people. Yeah, there's a few people that I've worked with before on my previous games, and I've reached out to them, and they're really cool to work with, and they're really talented. So it's
Oh,
nice to work with them again. Yeah,
sweet. Nice. Yeah, I'll have to start doing some digging soon if I want to do that, I think. But I did
yeah,
have some people reach out and just be like, if you need voiceovers, here you go. I'm like, okay. It's kind of
that's
early
cool.
for that, but yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's
that's
fun.
been interesting.
Hmm.
Nice. How are you tackling like localization? Is that a thing that you're doing?
So I wrote a custom dialogue system for the game, and I did it in such a way where all of the dialogue is in external JSON files. So that way, if I do want to translate, I can just send like files to translators rather than them having to go into the project at all.
Hmm.
It definitely
Nice.
made the dialogue system very complex, or at least more complex than if I just did it in like, I mean, I don't know. I guess it's not that big of a deal. It was just a new hurdle for me
Hmm.
to use JSON like that. But once I set it up, it's fine, I guess.
Yeah.
Um,
That seems like it's going to be really handy though. So I assume you can just swap out the file, right?
I Yeah, or I don't plan to do localization, but if I do want to,
Okay.
and I want to make sure that there's an option.
Yeah.
But if I do localization, what I would probably do is put different folders for different languages, and then just like point to the right folder depending on which language is chosen.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah,
Yeah. Those are always things that I guess people need to consider, but I mean English is usually the go-to language, but localization is nice to have in the future, like
for
in
sure.
case your game does do well.
Yeah, that's definitely something to think about at the beginning too.
Hmm.
Same with another thing that I'm going to start doing at the beginning now is controller support
Oh yes.
because yeah.
Yeah, I forced myself to learn the new input system. I'm like, I got to do this.
Yeah,
There's a bit of
yeah,
a curve, like a learning curve, but so far it's been all right.
that's good. Are you gonna have controller support for the game?
Yeah, I'm trying to do like both simultaneously, but sometimes it's difficult, so I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna do mouse and keyboard for now, and then go back to
Hmm.
controller later.
Yeah. Yeah, I spent
So,
some time switching over to the new input system, which was also a learning curve. But once it was in, it was like, okay, that's not so bad, and it was
mhm.
like way more organized.
Oh yeah.
And then adding the controllers, actual controller, um, was a little bit challenging because I had to change over a lot of like menu systems and stuff like that. Whereas had I
Mhm.
done it from the beginning, I feel like it would have been done in such a way where I was doing like it's good that you're doing it at the same time because you can make sure that it's kind of working on both, or at least you're like, okay, there's a little bit to fix here, and not like I've got to
Mhm.
redesign this
Yeah.
menu. So
I think I only thought about it because my game plays better with controller. So I'm like,
okay,
okay, I definitely want controller in. So I kind of like forced myself to have both options for now. So
that's
that was
good.
my reason, at least.
Yeah, no, I think controllers were always nice to have, and yeah, from now on, it's going in at the beginning. And once,
Hmm.
if you think about it, if you think, pay attention at the beginning, it's actually not that difficult. It's only when you have to start redoing things in order to support controllers. Like one
Yeah.
thing that came up, for example, is when I pick up items with a mouse and keyboard, the target area it was smallish, but it
Hmm.
was fine with a mouse because you have so much accuracy.
Oh
But once I was
yes.
using a controller, I'm like, oh, I can't get the thing. I'm
Oh
like
my
struggling,
gosh.
so I have to like go
Snap
through
it?
every there's
Did you have?
140 items right now, and to go through every single one of them and like make a bigger target area.
Oh
So it's
man.
annoying.
Oh, true. Oh wow. Yeah, I didn't think of stuff like that. But yeah, interesting.
Yeah, it's all these little things that come up. But you know,
Mhm.
the more we do the games, the
Yeah.
more we make games, the better we get. The more we think of this stuff at the beginning.
Experience and all that stuff.
Oh,
Just
what
good.
about you for localization? How are you handling it?
Oh, that was something I just like thought of recently, so I haven't put much thought into it, but just because I have like considered the voiceovers, I'm like now I have to do subtitles probably
Hmm.
with English at least, and then the two people I'm working with, they're actually from France, so
Hmm.
they know French. So I'm hoping we're gonna have a French localization at least.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
and then I'll consider like I'll keep it on the backlog. What other languages will do? So
Once you have one, I feel like
you
that's
gotta do them all.
yeah. Well, it's just you go through all the steps to get to switch
Yeah,
languages. Yeah,
might
may
as
as
well.
well.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's cool.
True.
Cool. So you mentioned that you do game development every day. What's like your routine like?
Hmm. Yeah, so I'm mostly a homebody, I feel, but I try to work on it. So I take a break after work, just go get away from my computer a little bit.
Hmm.
But after that, I just hop on Discord with some of my like community. They
Hmm.
actually all work like in the evenings on their own projects, so it's definitely a lot more motivating being with other people. We just catch up, like talk about what we're working on today, and then we try to do like whatever tasks we plan to do.
Hmm.
So that's mostly been my routine. Weekends, I try to take a little bit easy, but I also do know that's like the best time to actually get things done and get on a roll and finish a whole bunch of stuff. So I try to do that, but lately I feel like I've been going on a lot of vacations, so which is good to have in between as well. So
Ooh, what kind of vacations you been going on?
I just came back from New York like 2 weeks ago, and then
Ooh,
month I went to Japan and Korea.
really?
Yeah, so it's been nice.
Sounds nice. What did you go to these places for anything in particular, or just to travel?
Um, for Japan, Korea, that was like 2 weeks of just traveling with my friends.
Hmm.
Definitely saw a lot of nice sights and stuff like that. And New York, I went for a concert and a festival. So, and my friends live there, so I was just visiting as well.
That sounds fun. What type of festival was it?
It was this one label called 88 Rising, and then
Uh-huh.
the concert was like this K-pop group that I like to follow.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Sounds fun.
Mhm.
What was Japan like? Had you been before?
No, that was my first time. It was so nice. It's so
Yeah.
clean. Going to New
Yeah.
York last week or whatever, I'm like, oh my god, the difference. But
Really?
yeah, Japan's amazing. Like lots of sights to see. I went during cherry blossom season, which is really nice.
Oh, yes.
Um, it's just like a nice city overall. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Sounds
enjoyed
nice.
it. Going with friends was obviously more fun as well.
What were some of the highlights?
The highlights. Let's see. Hiroshima was really nice. There's this one island, just full of like deer, and just like taking the ferry over during like the morning was amazing.
Mm,
There weren't that many tourists during that time either, so we just like had this whole island to ourselves. It was really nice.
wow.
The food was really good, of
Mhm.
course. Um, yeah, I'll have to think back on it, but it was a good time for sure.
That's cool. How, did you go with a big group?
Yeah, I think it was like 10 of us that time.
Oh my
So
gosh, sounds like a blast. That's
yeah.
great.
hmm
Very organized of you to all go
hmm
together as a group that size.
We're like, this is such a rare opportunity. Like,
Yeah,
we'll make the best of it.
awesome. Do you have more travel coming up?
I think I'm doing like Cancun during the winter break, but there's still some
Mhm.
time for that.
Yeah.
So I try to take like
Perfect.
these extensive breaks from time to time because I'm usually just working, working, working. I think I
Yeah,
saw that you like took a vacation after so
I
long.
know.
Yeah,
I
that's
know I've
crazy.
not been taking breaks or balancing things well, so that's something I'm also trying to do more of now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially since like COVID's finally kind of gone, you can get
Yeah.
out and travel a little bit more. So
Yeah.
now's the
I'm also
time.
trying to step away from the computer more and like hang out with people. Even like this is like a nice break from working, just hang out and having conversation with people,
hmm
or like going, you know, going outside, touching grass.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what my sisters always say. They're like, "You got to get away from your computer," but I'm like, "I have so much stuff to do."
I know it's really hard to pull yourself away, but I think if you like consciously make an effort to, it's
Mhm.
good. But for at least for me, it's so easy to just continue doing the same routine of like, you know,
Yeah.
the work that I want to get done and getting that done.
hmm I
Like,
feel ya.
yeah,
There's just always tasks to be worked on, and
yeah,
like
exactly.
even getting away, you're like, oh, but I got to finish this when I get back.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's always something.
There's always something. But do you feel like you can detach when you go on vacations?
Oh yeah, I think I'm pretty good at that now. I just don't think about work or game dev stuff, so I'll try to enjoy every moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you find that your travels ever inspire your work?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think it was during Japan. I went to the Studio Ghibli Museum. I'm like,
Ooh,
oh, they had original concept art there. I'm like, this is amazing.
cool.
So I was
That's
definitely like
amazing.
really inspired just by like scenery or like just experiences in general. I try to inject them into whatever game I'm working on.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Mhm.
Do you do a lot of the art in your games?
If I work solo, I try to learn a little bit of art. I
Mhm.
never really grew up doing art. My sister was always like the artsy one. So when I
Mhm.
worked on games with her, she was taking care of all the art. But I did try to like see what she was doing, see her processes. So I definitely learned a lot from her at least.
Mhm.
So whenever I'm doing like solo game jams, I'll try to learn a new art style or something of the sort. Yeah.
That sounds good. It's good to have the skill, even if it's not your priority. It's good that you make the
Mhm.
effort to learn it because it's
Yeah.
nice to be able to do when you want to.
Did you learn 3D modeling and stuff yourself?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I
Mhm.
I kind of took everything on at once. I learned like I had done 2D stuff. I had done like other types of game making, but when I started Unity, I did like Unity and 3D at the same time. So it was a pretty big undertaking. I don't think I'd recommend it. I think I'd recommend doing like one or the other first, because then you
Yeah.
feel like more of a sense of progress as you're learning.
Mhm.
It definitely felt slow to be learning both at the same time, but it's nice to be able to do both for sure.
Oh
It's
yeah. Just
Yeah, I
expanding
can
your
just hop
skill
back and
set.
forth when I need
Mhm.
something.
Exactly. Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool. Did you have an art background by chance?
Sort of. Like I worked in graphic design for a while. I did a lot of illustration during that, like vector stuff for the most part.
Mhm.
Um, and I've always been drawing nonstop since I was like a child. So I've always been artistic, even
Nice.
though it might not have been like I was never an artist by
Uh-huh.
profession. It's definitely something I've always enjoyed doing.
Oh, that's cool. I
Yeah.
think for me, like, I never really had an artist eye, I think. So even when I'm looking at things, sometimes I don't know if it looks the best. But then the obviously we have the artists who will take care of that stuff. But sometimes I get confused. Um, that's pretty interesting that you can apply like your skills that you already had to this new stuff, the 3D modeling
Yeah,
aspects.
there's definitely a learning curve, but I think, with art, like, I did a lot of studying of anatomy and just sketching people and muscles and stuff like that for a long time.
Mhm.
And even though I never had done it in a 3D, actually I did sculpting sometimes, but I hadn't really done it in like a 3D space, definitely not a
Yeah,
digitally 3D space. But those principles, I think, stick. And I think the more you do art, the more you pay attention to
like
things when you
details
look
and
at
stuff.
them and
Hmm.
like, how does that all fit together? And I think that that
Nice.
is part of the artistic eye you're describing, is kind of just paying attention to the visual side of
Yeah.
things. Yeah.
So now that you know like both programming sides and artist side, what do you prefer? Do you have a
Programming.
preference? Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Just because it's like less time consuming, or
Maybe it's just like the um, type of stuff I'm doing. Like, I really enjoy sculpting a lot,
Mhm.
but it actually ends up being such a small part of what I need to do. So I only really sculpt when I'm doing organic things, mainly characters. And even with the characters now, I'm using like Marvelous Designer for the clothing for the most part. So it's mostly just faces and like hands or something like that. And
Mhm.
I love that part of it.
Oh yeah.
But then it's like, I spend maybe a day sculpting a face, or sometimes less, but I spend an amount of time. And then it's like, then I have to retopo it, and then I have to like UV unwrap it, and then I have to, like, the texturing is kind of fun too. But I feel like there's all the technical side around it that I don't spend a lot of the time doing the art I enjoy doing the most.
Mhm.
Or I do a lot of art that's like lately I've been doing destructible items. So I'll do like, a desk, and then a desk that's kind of broken, a desk that's more
Yeah.
broken, and then I'm doing like the particle effects that fly off when you're hitting it. So it's like, it's not really fun art. It's like, I need
Right.
that thing done. So it's not
Mhm.
like, it's kind of fun, but it's like, there's a lot of uh uninteresting art that I end up having to do
That
with
makes sense.
programming. I feel like I'm always like problem solving, and it's like a new like mental challenge. So I feel like I'm always engaged with that. So I
Yeah.
kind of like that more.
Oh, nice. That's
Mm.
interesting. Hmm. I know Blender definitely has like a huge learning curve. Like I tried to learn it. I did a little bit, but they were very basic. It's pretty difficult to get the hang of, especially with all
I
those shortcuts and stuff.
I agree. I sculpt in Blender because I don't use a lot of, like, I'm mostly just switching between a few different brushes, so it's not like a lot of
Hmm.
hotkeys and stuff. But whenever I'm trying to do like the modeling, like hard surface modeling, it's painful. I have to do it in my
Hmm.
is do you do your art in Blender when you do it?
Um,
Or
yeah,
mostly
I
2D?
haven't done that much 3D stuff myself, but I did
Hmm.
try Blender. Other than that, I'm just doing my 2D stuff in like Krita, or I have actually done some of the Blender grease pencil stuff. It's like their
Okay.
2D section.
Yeah.
So
How do you
that
like
was,
it?
that was pretty good. It was
Yeah,
less difficult to learn for sure.
that's good. And what about you? I'm assuming you like programming more, since that's kind of your main focus.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
that's what I'm used to the most, and there's always, like you said, there's something to problem solve or figure out usually, and it's always
Hmm.
like really satisfying to figure it out. So,
It is, yeah.
so I don't usually get too bored with that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like
Um,
different enough from my main job, so
mhm.
um, I don't think I get burnt out with that
That's
programming
good.
side. Hmm.
I'm glad to hear that. It can definitely be exhausting doing
Hmm.
um, full-time job and then hobby as well. So I'm glad you found a good balance for yourself.
Yeah.
Speaking of art, I noticed you do music as well.
Oh yes. Well, last year I started learning some more music making.
Uh-huh.
So music production. I've been using LMMS for. It's like
Hmm.
a open source DAW.
Okay.
So I did try Fruity Loops FL Studio at one point, but you have to pay for that. And I
Hmm.
wasn't a professional, so I'm like, I'm not going to pay for that.
Hmm.
So I picked up LMMS, and it's been an adventure learning that one. I already had like a piano background, so
Okay.
music was I had the music eye, I guess, the music ear.
Uh-huh.
um, so it was a little bit easier for me to get the hang of things like regarding making beats or just putting something on top of that. So I've been slapping together some tracks.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I haven't listened yet. What kind of music are you making?
I labeled them as video game soundtracks, so I guess it's
Okay.
that.
Uh-huh.
A lot of people said it kind of sounds like Stardew Valley music, which is a huge compliment. I'll take it. But just like relaxing tracks or anything that is more ambient, stuff like that.
Cool. I'm looking forward to listening to it.
Hmm. Yeah, it's
Do
been
you
fun.
do you have a keyboard that you plug in with it, or do you just do it like by with the mouse to put it in?
I do use the keyboard just to like figure out some melodies, but other than that, I've actually just been doing it straight from with my mouse, just clicking. Hmm.
Hmm, that's cool.
Yeah, I
Have you still
actually. Mhm.
are you still doing it lately?
Oh, well, what I started off with was doing a community event. It was like a music jam for my Discord.
Hmm.
So that's what kind of like forced me to learn it and other people to learn it. It was just nice to,
Hmm.
I like doing like group activities. So we've just been doing that. We had one 2 months ago. So, like in March, we did another music jam. I just give them a theme and then we all try to make a track.
Oh, what kind of
Um,
theme?
the latest one we had was Heartbeat. So some people made some
Mm.
really cool stuff with like the heartbeat sound in the back or like the heart monitor sound. It was interesting. And
Ah,
so we've just been trying to do that every couple months. Other than that, if I feel inspired, I'll make a track.
that sounds cool.
Mhm.
That's nice.
Have you tried making music?
Yeah, I used to make music a long time ago. I was really into it before I started doing game development, and
Oh,
that's where
yeah?
I was like, yeah, I was like, I can't do everything.
Yeah,
So
I
I
know.
just basically focused on, I mean, still a lot of things like art and programming and all the other things that go with game development, but
Hmm.
I kind of put music down for a long time. So,
Oh, wow. What type
um,
of music did you make?
like a lot of different things. Like I grew up with learning piano, and I learned taught myself guitar. Um, uh, I used to teach music lessons
Oh,
like
wow.
in
Nice.
high school and university, and then I was in bands later and did some like electronic stuff. So, but I never got like that serious into it. It was always just something I enjoyed doing
Mhm.
and kind of did on the side of like, I still had a 9 to 5 job and I come home and mess around, but I never like got into it very seriously. But once I started doing game development, I'm like, okay, I can only really take on so much at a time, like
Yeah.
especially when you're just learning. So I kind of haven't touched any. I mean, I still play piano once in a while,
Mhm.
but otherwise, I don't really do music anymore.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, there's so many things in game development that are involved, and you want to be part of it all, but it's just
Hmm.
not that realistic to do everything yourself. You should
Yeah.
totally make a track for your game though. That would be really cool. At least one.
The thing is, like, I'd have to get back into it, and like,
Mhm.
I'm so picky with music that I don't
Okay.
even. It would take me so long to be happy with something. Probably
Mhm.
take me as long to make a track I'm happy with as it would to finish the game.
Oh man. True. Yeah. That would be cool
but
though.
but you know what? It's a good suggestion. Maybe I should be open to the idea of it.
Mhm.
Yeah. Are you
Nice.
making the music for your game? Oh wait, you have a musician.
I'm a musician, yeah, but I might try to collaborate on like one track at least,
Yeah,
just to
and he
see.
can collaborate with. It's he.
Mhm.
Musicians, yeah. So he can collaborate with you because he's a dev as well, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I was trying to like hand off some stuff, but then
Yeah.
we're like trying to figure things out. Yeah.
That's funny. Cool. Well, yeah, thank you so much for joining. It's
Mhm.
been really nice chatting with you and hearing more about all the stuff you've been working on.
Yeah, thank you for asking me about my game. I haven't really talked about it too much yet. Like I've been posting
Hmm.
on Twitter, but it was nice to actually like converse with someone about the game and like
Yeah,
especially another fellow developer. It's
yeah,
nice to
for
get that
sure.
feedback and stuff.
I forgot there's one thing I've been meaning to ask you. I assume you don't have a name for it yet.
Mhm.
Is that right? How
No
are you going to go
name.
about naming it? If you've been working on this long and like, do you have names in mind? Do you have like a code name, secret name?
So far, like I don't know why I just thought of the name Foxglove, so it's been called Detective FoxGlove, but it's probably going to be like in the style of the Indiana Jones kind of titles, like Detective Foxglove and the something something. So
Okay, I
it'll
like that.
probably be something like that. I don't know if I'll change his name or something, but the work in progress title is just Detective Foxglove.
Very cool. That sounds great. I like
Mhm.
the Indiana Jones name. I'm
Yeah.
happy with it.
It makes it sound like an adventure. That's what I like.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
Cool. I'm
so
looking forward to seeing more of it. I can't wait to see.
thank you. Yeah, I'm hoping to get the Steam page up soon. Once we get more
Cool.
assets in, hopefully
hmm
I'll get that up. Yeah.
Sounds great.
Hmm.
All right, cool. Well, I'll talk to you again soon. Thanks again for joining.
Thank you for having me.